and guests in studios. If it's on the block, we'll talk about it. This is the talk on the block. I know a number of you are rushing home, huh? You want to be there on time. At least you want to take at least 1 hour for lunchtime, okay? I understand. I know the police usually record, so start your recording going, okay? We're going to take a quick break and we'll come right back. Right back.
Fresh Market Pharmacy has expanded to customers with its new additional location at Best Price. 2 convenient locations on the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard and at Best Price Riverbank. Fresh Market Pharmacy provides over-the-counter medication, health and personal care, prescription drugs, and natural supplements. Our experienced pharmacists and technicians provide the best quality services. Call 225-6883, 255-6875, WhatsApp 316-0310. Your prescription bill just got lowered.
Need one trusted place to stock up for your home, shop, or business? Fine Foods Inc. Distribution has got you covered. From dry goods and frozen foods to your favorite drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, plus all the household must-have. We've got it all under one roof. We're right here in Jimmy Dominica, and yet we deliver. Whether you're running a supermarket, a corner shop, a bar, or just like your pantry full and happy, Fine Foods Inc. brings you the best brands you know and love. Great prices, top-tier service, trusted products. 255-6810 or 316-0164 or drop by our Jimmy location to check out what's in store. Fine Foods Inc.
Fine Foods Inc. The biggest distributor for the biggest brand. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. KFC. Ooh, oh, KFC. Looking for some place to go. Variety knows for so. Party your KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
Dominica, good afternoon to you and welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, Lord.
Some nights get long, some roads get rough, but I ain't afraid, no, not tonight. 'Cause the Lord is my light, and when that fear comes whispering my name, I just whisper his name, and the darkness runs away. The Lord is my light, I won't be afraid. He's my salvation, my debt's been paid. When the wicked rise, they stumble and fall. My heart won't tremble, I've heard his call. Who's got your back? The Lord Most High. Who lifts your soul? The same Most High. When people come in, I won't bow down. My faith is firm. Whom shall I fear? He hides me safe. From the 1950s Soul Gospel, Psalm 27. Whom shall I fear? My mind, he lifts my head above my foes and pours his mercy low. It overflows. Whom shall I fear? No one here. The Lord is my strength. His voice I hear. Trouble comes, I won't lose sight. My God is my light in the darkest. This afternoon we continue to share some of the challenges being faced by the Patriots. I said the Patriots, they wash. I said the Chinese could not pronounce the word. He said two branches, you know. So. All my day, who walks with you, Emmanuel. Actually, I think he knew what he was saying, you know. They wash. Shut that door. So we're gonna get dive right into the conversation. You know, we're here with Mr. Jerry Brisbane and of course Annie Edwards, former. He still knows where I've been. Chief of the planning division. In every storm, we're here to speak about some of the challenges being faced. Nobody. Truth is clear. This fire remains. My God, my Lord. Two of these patriots standing for Desbois. Let me say good afternoon to, of course, Nancy and the others on the ground there. The people, the folks there, the Kalinago territory, standing. You're the strength of my heart, my holy God. So let's say good afternoon to Mr. Jerry Brisbane. Good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing?
Good man, good man.
Good?
Well, yeah.
Doing well?
Yeah.
You're always smiling.
Why not? What do you want me to cry? Doesn't help, man. It
doesn't help?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't help.
Annie, how you doing this afternoon? How are you?
Good afternoon to Matt and good afternoon to your listeners. I'm doing great.
You know, she's one of the persons actually challenging this Physical Planning and Development Authority. And that case, I can tell you, will be tomorrow and see what will come for that one. Yes, tomorrow.
Yes.
Another big challenge, huh? Well, what's going to happen there before we start? What's going to happen
it's a case for judicial review of the whole process for the international airport development. It's not about stopping the airport. It's the process that the government went through to acquire the land and also the treatment of the people. All these things will be taken into consideration.
All right.
But so, you know, I cannot say too much.
I know you can't say too much before. It's
and,
before.
I'm the front, but there are Wesley people behind me and also Wave.
Okay.
All part of it. And we were lucky, I would say, to have a King's Counsel. His name is Leslie Thomas.
Okay.
Who's going to be the lawyer on the case.
All right. So there's a big one there.
That's a big
Maybe research, Leslie. You'll find out for yourself. So Jerry, let's jump straight into what's going on there with Desbois and some of the challenges that you face as we start the conversation.
Yeah, Matt, before I even do that, let me again say good afternoon to your listeners.
Okay.
Technology is right now going berserk.
Yeah.
Before we do that, Matt, the last time when I came, and I would like to do it again because I think it's very important for people to understand the mission that we're on. And so the first time when I came, which time flies, Matt. It was since December. I didn't realize that. Huh?
Really?
Yeah, since December. I mean,
it seems like yesterday.
That's the whole point. So yeah, so a lot has happened. But before, as I said, we go into that, let me just read this the mission statement because
Okay.
it is very important. It's what we remind ourselves of every single morning and day we get up. And that is spiritual awakening. Matt. That's what it's all about. It's a spiritual awakening. And last time I read again what it is we had put together, which is we're up against the challenge of spiritual warfare. And that is spelled W-A-R-F-E-A-R, not F-A-R.
Okay.
The type of fear that is out of disrespect for our Creator, ourselves, humanity, nature. One that feeds hate, division, jealousy, anger, war, greed, selfishness, lies, destruction, complexity, and which places our spirit in darkness, bondage, and imprisonment. We need to break the chains of that spirit. And the way we will achieve that is with the type of fear that leads to respect for our Creator, ourselves, humanity, nature. One that breeds love, understanding, truth, peace, humility, oneness, strength, simplicity. And in turn, places our spirit in a state of freedom, where the people will no longer be shackled, but will be free at last.
Free at last.
And Matt, the reason I wanted to read this over again is because after we started this mission, over the time frame of the 5-6 months or however long it may be, if it's one thing that I have noticed, which is very, very prominent, very in your face, in dealing with all the different individuals or peoples or organizations or departments that we have dealt with, is that spirit of fear. It is major. I never knew it was that bad. Where people
fear from the people.
Yeah, fear. Fear because their spirits are in bondage. Which, again, it's partly their control to a large degree because we all have choices, we all make decisions. But again, understandably so, that, by saying stuff, carrying out their works or doing whatever it is, there are serious consequences in doing that. And very unfortunate because it's not how the society should, be functioning, and even organizations and departments and whoever. Because you get a lot of people in the background, supporting you doing this, that, but a lot of them will not want to show their face.
Show their face, yes.
Yeah, it's real. It's really, really real. And even in the departments, that we have dealt with.
Government.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, even the planning department. I mean, the people that are some of the nicest people that we have interacted with. Oh, I personally, no problems whatsoever. But you could tell that they want to do their work, but if they do it the way it should be done, it's going to be a problem. And that's real. It is real, Matt. It's not a fallacy. It's not fiction. I experience it all the time when we talk about some of these experiences. Yeah. And it's everywhere. Every single place. Yeah. And again, it's unfortunate, but as the mission statement says, that's what we need to overcome, is that fear. People need to break the shackles, break the bondage, break the imprisonment of their soul. And for me, Matt, personally, I mean, thank God I have been so blessed because I have been able to do that. Oh, it was a very long time ago. Even when I was in business, even when I knew the forces could come, which they did, they came against me with a heavy force. But the most important thing, I think, and that's the message I want to tell people all of that, is that if you allow your soul to be in that bondage, there is actually no purpose in living, as far as I'm concerned. what's the purpose? You know, yeah, you're alive, but you're spiritually dead. And that quality of life, if I, Derber's and people who know me know that, had to live that way, I'd rather be dead, physically. Because there would be no purpose to life. And I'm sure Annie would share the same sort of thing. She worked in the planning, which is where we focus a lot of our attention on today. But there are other departments, other things, and other situations. So.
Annie, why are you not fearful like others?
I'm not fearful at all, and I would say, firstly, because I believe there's a God, and when you believe in God, you're not supposed to fear anything. And the other thing I have is that I worked, as I said earlier, on several occasions. I worked at the planning department for years, and administering the Planning Act. And I'm not a lawyer, but I understand the spirit of the Planning Act. Before this Physical Planning Act of 2002, there was a act which, so this one superseded it. Now, this act is the one which brought in the idea of environmental impact assessment and, all those stuff. And I think the persons who drafted that act did it to protect our environment and to help us deal with some of the issues that we are now encountering today, like climate change and so forth. So we should not think of EIA as something that is preventing your development. It's something that once it's done properly, it will actually lead you to do a proper development. So that is what our focus will be today a lot. The whole structure within EIA exists, and just applying it to the issues that you face today.
Jerry, that's not on your playlist, but I'm going to play this one. This is a recent song I delivered that I think is going to speak the message that you want to convey. This one there.
Bon Dieu, t'en prie, t'en dévoile, la vie bloquée, moi pas qu'avancer. Toute porte fermée devant moi, moi besoin de oh,
débloquer la vie, moi. Débloquer moi. Tout ça qui m'a moi. Débloquer l'esprit, moi. Délivrez-moi en bas chaîne peinoyo. Deliver me from the chains.
Gen bagay mwen pa kompran anpon, gen wout mwen pa ka jwen anpon, mwen tan de vwa ou tire te la, men ke mwen a priye, mwen seye. Retire tout kote qui m'enlève dans l'esprit, retire toute chaîne qui m'enlève.
Break the chains.
Ouvrir-moi sans Jésus, débloquer-moi, papa, débloquer l'Israël, débloquer-moi, débloquer, Seigneur, débloquer tête-moi, toute corde, retirer toute chaîne, toute corde, moi la guerre, toute bagaille dans mes roues, prends contrôle, Seigneur.
Take control. You're in charge. The God above. The worst fear is fear itself. Huh? All the chains tie in this country. It's all in your hands to break the chains of fear. before we move on to more discuss, Jerry, just bring this in perspective first. Where did this all start?
Yeah, Matt. Well, I think I want to recognize the tremendous amount of work that's being done, and by quite a number of people. They're in the background. Many people don't know who they are, but there is a big team, in all different areas. Social media, the works, yeah, and for the world. Even this week, we will probably having 2 or 3 meetings with international people, who are really assisting us in great ways. So I want to recognize all of that.
So the international community is paying attention to this.
Oh, big time, man. Big time, yeah. Even in terms of funds, everything, every single thing. It's amazing what's going on. Because, I think people are recognizing the importance of preserving what they should have preserved before and did not in terms of their countries or whatever. And to a large degree, Matt, I feel, Dominica right now is so blessed. It's unbelievable. The underdevelopment that we have faced and are still facing, some people look at it as a negative. I don't. I always look at positives and stuff. And it's not that I want us to remain, if you want to say, underdeveloped, but it affords us to me that great opportunity at this time that we can seize it and do it right. That's why I say it's a blessing. Learn from all these mistakes and these things that people have done in their countries, the destruction of their water, the forests, every single thing. And do things in such a way to balance and preserve, which can be done. Debash is a clear example of that. And we get into all of that as we move along. But besides that, Omar, I just want to come and give a timeline, pretty much, where, we saw where the excavation in Debash started about July. July 8th is what we saw last year. So again, I just want people, because it's almost a year. I mean, we've been, so a lot of stuff has been going on. On October the 1st is when the Marigot and the Kalinago councils reached out for, to the government for information of the people, what's going on here and stuff like that. Then we had Gary post his first video on November 6th. Gary and General were working together. We had on November 23rd, where the Tuna Committee requested documents and different things and whatever else. On December 1st, there was the stop order that was issued by the Planning Division. Then you had where on the 15th of December, we had the night of celebration and education at the Barana Uti. And what I'm pointing out, Matt, mostly is the activities that we personally have been involved with, because there are many, many other activities. On January 7th, you had where Nasio and his wife Helen had their stand for an IP also, not forgetting IP. They stand for Debash. David also joined them. On January 8th, Gary and myself met with the chief planner, Nomi, again to discuss the whole situation that was taking place in Debash. At that meeting, she advised us when we requested documents to write, and which we did. So we eventually got these documents on I'm trying to get something I missed out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that was on January 26th, we were able to, or she responded, sorry, on January 26th. And in that letter, she indicated that we were to pay $400 for the copies, which we did. The Tuna Committee also, and the Marigot Council, and also the Canada Council wrote to on the 27th of January to the also planning division also. We then since then had about from January 28th, we had like 5 meetings in the Kalinago territory with the Cooper Knoll group, which is a NGO. Again, all in effort to reach out, educate, because as you know, Matt, we said in the beginning that our three-prong approach is for outreach, for science, and legal. So all these things are being worked on. On the just trying to skip over. On the February 25th is when we got the stop orders and the application forms for the first time after being writing for months, Mark. And then on the March 16th, we got...
You requested from December?
Yeah, of course. Mark, it's been a long, long time. It took, let me see what I'm seeing here. Where was it? Noemi response to Jerry letter. My letter was sent in. I have it there somewhere. Somewhere in December, yeah. Just all the way in December. Or early January, you know, is when we sent that in, Matt. Early January, yes. Okay, so, and then the ASI was finally released after asking that for months and months, Matt. It was released on March 16th, yeah, was when it was.
Okay.
And then it was then released by the Save the Wash team on March 20th. And I can tell you, Matt, that and it was part of the team that went in and that created a stir, which we'll also talk about, you know, as we go along. But I just wanted to sort of highlight the key things. Matt, I mean, when the team put together the events that we have been involved with on different things, it's 130 different things over the time, whether it's meetings, there's all different aspects of the stuff. So there's been a lot of work in the background taking place to get to us today, to this day, and a lot of effort. It wasn't overnight.
I just heard there a couple of days ago that the planning division got upset with you because you released that document, DEIA. What is your response to that?
Well, that is really like shocking to me because they actually told us we will not be allowed to come back to planning for documents. But I know in the past what we would do when these documents are submitted.
But before you get them, saying why did you decide to release that document?
Well,
it's a public document.
It's a public document. Everything at planning, except for some information that might be private to the developers.
Okay.
Everything is public, you know. And it said the law actually states that it's public. And in fact, the planning department, yes, can make it public, but under the Planning Act, you're supposed to hold consultations and present the documents to the people, you know. So I'm trying to figure out why they actually should be in the Carib territory presenting the document, because most people cannot read these large documents, you know, and understand them.
Thousands of pages?
Yeah.
Thousands of pages?
No, but 1,000, man.
Yes, it's a lot of huge documents. I mean, a person like me who has read these documents, I know what to look for so you can skim through quickly. But a lot of people might sit and try to read that entire thing and you'll never get through. And not in the past, you know, when I was there, what we would do is if people come for copies, an officer from the department would go to the printers with that person. The printers print it, the person pays, and
so you could make copies.
Yes, you ask a copy and you go and
pay for it.
That's all.
But
So I'm trying to figure out what is this about. But we need, because environmental impact assessment, it looks at the impact of the project on the people who live in the area, and their natural resources. So people need to know what's in there, how this project is going to affect their lives.
Could you take pictures?
They told us we could take pictures. So we did that. We only got an hour and a half. So we had to quickly take pictures of the documents and then put it together and share with other people.
But
what's so illegal about that?
Let me share my experience with that, because it's very important.
Yes.
Because and he's talking more from the structurally planning thing.
Yes.
But we were the ones who visited the chief planner, Mr. Ali.
Ali?
Ali or Ali?
Ali.
Ali. Sorry, I want to make sure. Mr. Ali. He's the acting chief planner. His acting tenure becomes due, I think, at the end of March.
Okay.
What happens after that, we don't know. We've asked him that many times, but he's not able to tell us whether he will continue or someone else comes in. And that also is another, there's just so much. That also is another problem, because Ali could speak to that, because the chief planner position is a very powerful, very powerful. The planning division also is a very powerful institution. I don't want to be jumping all over the place, but when you hear Mr. Johnson talking about as if the government and the planning, the government can do what they want, really it should not be the case. It is though, in fact. But and that's unfortunate. Again, maybe later on we can deal with that. But getting back to this experience here, we visited the chief planner and had a meeting. It was generally myself and Gary. And then that meeting lasted an hour and something. A very cordial meeting. All the meetings have been quite good. And then he informed us that the ESIs and so on were going to be made public. But he told us what the structure was going to be, which was the documents were going to be placed in the boardroom, and then we had the ability to come to look at these documents. But we would be allowed an hour and a half to view them if other people came. So in other words, if you were there first, you'd be allowed an hour and a half, but then you have to exit, and the other people would then come and view for themselves. So we asked him then whether or not there was going to be what you call copies placed in the affected community, because that's actually the case, as Anna said. Yeah. And not only just placed, but it has to be advertised in newspaper, and as you know, and the whole procedure. There's a whole process, man. But nothing of that has been followed. So we then asked him, well, would we allow to take pictures or screenshot or whatever else it is? And he said yes, there was no problem with that. So that was the Friday, I believe. The Monday came when it was going to be released. And obviously, knowing how the system works and not trusting it, Matt, which is unfortunate, because it's a failed system in every aspect. We put together a team to come in, and he was part of the team. It was about 6 of us, I think, and 6 of us, because we had our plan. You see, Matt, failure to plan is a plan to fail. So we came in plan. And we came in plan in the planning division. So here is it now. We came in there, everybody. We were the first. We made sure we were the first. And then we were allowed to come in. There's a young lady there sitting, ensuring everything is functioning, assisting, no problems at all. And we asked again, are we able to take photos? She said yes. So we started to screenshot. No, I am not in this technology, man. I learned how to screenshot. My daughters were there, whatever, my wife, everybody, they came. Gary, David was there, and so on. And then, so remember, 1,000 pages is not an easy process, right? So whatever. Anyway, I think when they realized what was going on, because the system was actually designed for that not to happen.
Okay.
That's a given. So we all went something, how could you even take pictures of that and whatever else that be. So that was done. And when they saw we were making good progress, then one of the employees, again, very, very cordial and nice, came and said, well, we are going to provide copies, for you all. I guess, again, that was another plan of theirs to store what was going on. Not the employee itself, but directives. You understand, a lot of directives are coming down. I will share that quickly. And so they said we will make copies available. We're waiting for directive from the top, the head, honcho. Who that was, we don't know, but obviously I think all of us could guess because it's not within the planning division, I can tell you that. Anyway, so thankfully we didn't take the bait, if you want to see in a sense, and we continued our screenshot. And then they came back from time to time saying, well, we're still waiting, whatever. But by the end of it all, we had finished screenshotting, everything was done. Saved us about $700, which is money we could put elsewhere. Yes. Actually, we used it to make a copy to give to the Cardinal. They should have had a copy, which we still would have had to pay for it because if that were the process, we'd have to go Campbell's, wherever, for the copies. So that was done. And the plan was to obviously, as we say, make, publish and make public public documents. The document, yeah. But Matt, for me, it's the first time I've seen this. I don't know if anyone's figured it, but here is it, you're now banned. You're now banned from making public documents. Have you ever heard of that? So anyway, just quickly to go in story. So it was after that was done, Karen had another meeting with the chief planner because of all the events that have happened with the people, Mr. Johnson coming out and saying, then, we saw activity going on and whatever it is. So we went to the chief planner to say, well, what's going on? And then Mr. Johnson came out in the public and said that they had gotten written permission. So again, based on how we operate, Matt. So where's the permission? So that's the whole point. So we go out to find out because based on how we operate, once we hear information, we go for the facts because we don't want to go out there and then tell people stuff and it's not true. Okay. So we go to the planning and we again have a meeting with Mr. Ailey. What's today? Today is Tuesday. I think that was last week. Friday. Maybe last week Friday. And so we went to him, Gary and I. It should have been 10 minutes, but it turned out to be an hour because it was a nice cordial meeting. And during the meeting, we asked for the documents. And he said, so we asked him if he could get it. And he said, yes, he would give it to us. And then we asked him, when can we get it? He said, well, go downstairs. He'll arrange to have it to us right away. So we went downstairs. And whilst we were there sitting, we spoke to the ladies downstairs and they said they would check. And then they came back and said, well, whoever was doing it stepped out. So come back after lunch. We'll call you after lunch. And we waited. I waited for the call. Didn't come. 3 o'clock. So again, we have our plan. Waiting. I then left my home and went on to planning to get the documents. And they told me to hold on a while. And then lo and behold, as I'm sitting there, Mr. Ailey comes in. And immediately my spirit sensed a different vibration. Okay. And I realized something was wrong. And then he said to me, they're not going to release any more documents to us. I said, why? This morning, everything was fine now. And I said, what has changed? What is the problem? And then he says, well, the developers, that was his words, developers were very upset that we made these documents public. Right. I said, what? Developers? The guy couldn't believe. How is the developers controlling the planning from, because they really don't have that control. How are they doing that? And I asked him again, developers? And then he said to me, well, Mr. Josiah Benoit, who is the person who is the, what is he? Is the DI, but they call him environmental engineer for MMC. He called his name. And I said, oh? I said, well, Mr. Josiah Benoit is a very powerful person in this country, it appears. Right? And so, when I spoke to him a bit more and he was insistent that he wasn't going to give me the documents, I couldn't force it. We left. And then we decided, well, look, we're not stopping there. I think it was Annie, Annie, myself and Gary, then went back into the office. to then go to look at the documents again, which again, Matt, there is, if you want to call a notice saying that the public is free to come and from what time and everything else.
Until March 29th, I think it was?
27th.
Yeah.
Friday.
And while sitting there, Mr. Haley came again and he told us that we won't be allowed to go in to see the documents. We couldn't believe it. I mean, I think
any future documents.
Yeah, any future documents. So I think this is now set up because we are understanding now that they are planning to release the ESIA for the airport. That's what the information said. So it appears now they're making sure that these documents do not get out into the public.
So they're putting them out, but they don't want them to get out.
And don't want you specifically to come.
We are specifically back. Our group, they made that clear. Everybody could come.
Everybody in that group that scanned the document.
Yeah. Because, Matt, interesting enough, what we did, is after, and the timing, I guess, was thing from the meeting we had with him where he said he would release. To the next day when, or the same day when I came down to say he wasn't going to release, the timing was such, Matt, that Gary then went out and blasted us, and he blasted his what you call it, the document.
Okay.
And so I guess maybe I'm sure Mr. Josiah Beno and them saw that document in the public. And they,
but we did them a favor.
That's how it should be done. That's how it should be done.
Scan those because you have to spend so much money to scan it. We scanned them free of charge and distributed them. So I really cannot understand that.
So we have been banned from making public documents public.
Well, why are they so upset?
Well, not because what a tangle web we weave when we go to deceive. Because they know that the documents in themselves.
And the documents are very deficient.
Very deficient. Extremely deficient. And that's why, and not only deficient, but lies. Because even the Kalinago chief came out publicly at our thing on Saturday and said, because in the document it claims that there was consultation, and there was never any consultations. So there's a lot of deceit, deception. And once you are down that road, and you're not in the light. That is why again our mission is to bring all that.
I found funny that following that meeting that you were scheduled to have on Friday, the Chinese ambassador made a statement to the press, and not the press that they addressed was CAIREFA and GIS. So
not even DBS.
No,
DBS
maybe DBS was there. DBS was there, but I haven't heard them speaking to the issue.
Okay.
But Kyrie, of course, released that statement on Sunday afternoon.
Right. Yeah, we'll come to that later on, Matt, because we have a section on that we deal with. But it's, as I said, we're bringing the darkness out into the light. So, and we're happy when these people talk. Oh, the more they talk, the better. So keep talking, keep doing stuff, because when these things happen, Matt, then it sends us now to find the truth. And in trying to find the truth, we are getting stuff we never knew about. So we ourselves are being enlightened even more and more, and that's why we're here to share knowledge with people, Matt, so that they can make that choice whether they want to continue to live in the darkness or they want to be in the light. So we're not telling anybody what to do. We're simply just sharing information. But it's a serious web of deceit.
Let's take one from Nancy Fontaine. The truth I'll reveal.
Truth and truth alone. For the truth will reveal you. You see their faces for you. Never know the other words. Every day we know that dog is deep. So deep. You see their actions for you. Never know their reactions. Time and time, my Lord will prove the story, and every eye will see, truth will reveal.
That's the statement you just made. They are angry because the document was released shows that the intent is crooked. It's the people's right to know, and it's a public document. The people should be consulted. And you have the right to take pictures. Big up, Terry Brisbane. Somebody's making more comments here, man. These administrative division of the public seems to forget that they're working for the people of Dominica and cannot deny people from coming to their property. We seem to have fully embraced the CCP structure where the party in office. You're talking about the Chinese government, huh? In office states that the people are their subjects, huh?
But you and I know that looks at it, say, here you stand. Still waters run deep. So what it up, you running steep. And one time I love will prove the story. And every eye will see. The truth will reveal. The truth will reveal. Things that are hidden. The things that I'm high, I keep down in battle. Truth will reveal. The truth will reveal.
Before I get back to you, Annie, let's just take a phone call, make it interactive. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Are you there? Yes?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. You will not get the truth from your administration. They are not truthful people. They have been lying to the people of Dominica from heaven. They will continue lying to the people of Dominica because the people of Dominica love their lies. And as far as I'm concerned, the bloody Chinese are controlling that country because they want to have a base close to America. Take it from me. I believe that. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Annie, let's help us understand the structure of planning.
Okay. I think the best way to do that is to read it out from the actual law. Part 2, Section 4 of the Physical Planning Act says that for the purposes of this act, there shall be a physical planning and development authority for Dominica. The Development and Planning Authority, the Development and Planning Corporation, incorporated by the Development and Planning Corporation Act of 1972, is hereby established as the Physical Planning and Development Authority. And herein in this act are referred to as the authority. So what it's saying there is that now we have this Physical Planning and Development Authority, but before it, there was what you call the Development and Planning Corporation.
Okay.
And it goes on to say that, so some people might not understand. So although they say it's an authority, it's actually made up of solely a board. And the board is appointed by government, but it has a lot of senior positions there, like the chief engineer, chief architect, senior development control officer, director of lands, the chief physical planner, of course, and then you have representatives, the chief agricultural officer. So it's a number of chiefs on it, and then you also have representatives from the Engineers and Architect Association. And it says that this authority shall be responsible for the implementation of the policies framed by the minister, and the authority shall, in accordance with directions of a general character, which may be given by the minister as to the policy to be followed in the exercise of its function. So the authority is really under the minister. So when policies are made and so on, the authority is responsible for this. So obviously there is a distinction between the authority. Then it goes the authority and the minister. Now it goes on to say a chief physical planner who shall be a public officer shall be appointed to exercise and perform the duties specified in the different subsections. The chief physical planner shall be responsible to the authority for the administration and operation of the system of planning for which this act provides. The chief physical planner shall be the secretary to the authority and the chief executive officer. The chief physical planner shall sign and issue all development permissions, refusals or development permission, compliance notices, and other documents authorized by the authority.
You read a line that I just wanted to repeat as it relates to refusal. Can you repeat that?
Okay, so the chief physical planner shall sign and issue all development permission, refusals of development permission, compliance notices, and other documents authorized by the authority to be issued under the provisions of the Act. And the chief physical planner has the powers conferred upon him or her by this Act and the duties that is required by the Act or by the direction of the authority to perform. So what it says here, the chief physical planner is who is responsible for
everything
planning in Dominica. And that's why this is a very powerful position, and the instruments of that position come down directly from the president, just as the chief of police and all these other people.
That's a very powerful position.
Yes, it's very powerful. So that's why, for instance, the former chief, we heard that she was given 3 months. A chief physical planner has to get maybe if you're acting still minimum a year. Because you undermine the power of the authority of the person when you give the person 3 months, 6 months. So that's why this position is very, very important.
Just quickly to come in, Annie. Mm-hmm. You see, Matt, the whole system has been undermined over the years. And even starting from what I understand since the Freedom Party days, where instead of appointing people, which is what it should be for a 3-year period or something.
Yes, that's the ideal.
Right? Yeah. 3-year period. People were then, positions of that nature was started to be put on contracts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And today this leadership in government has taken this and run wholesale with it, because I'm understanding to Ali that even PSs are now being put on contracts rather than
so the authority is undermined.
Yeah. And so the authority now, Matt, is undermined, and the people are afraid to act in the way that they should act, because again, a contract, as you know, allows for an exit clause where they could terminate them at any point in time.
So that issue where you have Josiah Benoit going into planning and directing the chief physical planner. This is illegal.
I mean,
they should have called the police.
Of course. I mean, it's unheard of.
No, that doesn't happen.
Yes, it's unheard of. I mean, I sat there.
I'm trying to.
amazed.
Yes.
I said, what? And
I don't remember anything like that happening. I mean, you submit your document to the plan department. Once it reaches the plan department,
they take control.
Yeah,
you have no control over it.
Control.
But you see now, Mark, that obviously based on the system and how it's operating, that's where the whole system is
breaking down.
It's not breaking down. It's broken.
So
it's
that's
totally
why
broken.
Certain people, like Mr. Johnson, say planning is government and government is planning.
But they can go ahead and say that now, because of the how broken the system is. But Martin, is no surprise, because I remember, you may not remember, but I remember when I started in the beginning with you here, 12 years, 14, I don't know, 15 years, quite a while. And even at that time, I remember saying to you that for me, right, Dominica had become a failed state. And the reason I made that point even then, for me, is because for me, I consider a failed state one where a citizen does not have that trust and confidence in the institutional organization supposed to protect the citizens. So for me, that was the case even then. So you can well imagine now, it's just totally gone berserk.
Let's take a phone call quickly because somebody wants to participate. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt, and to Mr. Brisbane and Annie.
Yes.
I just heard somebody speaking about PSCs being put on contract. Well, I can tell you directly that this was something that was tried by Eugenia Charles. And Mr. Kenneth Richards pushed back because almost all the PSCs had already signed agreeing for that. And Mr. Kenneth Richards had a meeting at his home, which I was privy of, and my son, and told them that they could not do that kind of thing because that is jeopardizing their job. And they all rescinded their signature and it went back to normal. But you cannot put a permanent secretary on a contract. This is unheard of. This is the kind of thing Roosevelt carried loves. So he has a hammer or an anvil over your head. Anything you do, he drops it. This is one of the things why Mr. Brisbane is now saying that we are a failed state, because everything is being controlled by him, and he can tell you what he wants to do and make you do whatever. That is happening at this junction, continuing. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to another telephone call. Yes, quickly, please. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Jerry and Sister Annie and others. I think this continuance proves exactly why we have to take a different approach to dealing with this government. Jerry's been talking for 12 years, maybe more. And he's the same thing going through the same stress of a whole bunch of people. We have to reach a point where we have to disengage from the government and deal with the government through the processes of the law. This habit in Dominica of just talking and talking.
But you just heard, and of course I made the early statement that tomorrow Annie's going to the court, so she's dealing with that. You missed that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I missed that. But I'm saying not just for Annie and them, but for the people. We have issues in the country, and this constant speaking the government is a waste of time because this government is not concerned about us. And so please, let's start taking that new approach, my brothers.
All right, thank you. Now, let's move on. But Annie, somebody's asking, what is the qualification? Try to explain what's the qualification for the chief planner. How do you qualify for a job like this?
Well, in the past, the chief, planning was an established profession, I would say. Okay. So people would go to study planning. And
so it wasn't a square peg in a round.
No, you go.
You have to be qualified.
The people before will, train in planning, but then you might have some other training. You might do your first degree in planning and have a master's degree in some environmental aspect or architecture or so on. So it's not cut and paste, but at least you need to have some kind of background in planning.
Okay.
But not just quickly before Annie goes on to the last caller, I think clearly said our approach is legal, outreach, and also scientific. Mm-hmm. So what I would like to ask the caller, or tell the caller, or show the caller, is with that approach that has been taken and other people who have joined in and everything, results have been forthcoming. I don't know if the caller is aware, but it's not to take credit, it's a fact. Had the group of individuals, and I'm sure, including yourself, not started the publicity and asked questions, because you were one of the first people who raised questions as to what's going on here yourself, and then other people, whether it's the Marigot Council, the Kalinago Council chief herself, and then Janelle and Guy came in and started to do some work. And it was because of that public, knowledge and information, the authorities put a stop order. That stop order would not have taken place. I'm telling you, had the pressure not come and the information and education gone out there. So, the call is calling and it's like, saying, stop talking. But knowledge is power. And so we also needed, because one of the first things we did, Matt, after that was to bring a geologist in. And the report has come out, and the report has obviously educated all of us, because we didn't know what he would have found. And so with that, now we have ammunition.
So it's because of public pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, of course. You think, let me tell you, if that was not done, Matt, Devash would have maybe 100 acres would have been taken.
I have an attorney on the line there. Mr. David Bruni, good afternoon to you. We missed that call there. Well, continue, yes? Uh-huh.
Okay. So just to finish on, Matt,
yes,
it is working. And as Annie said, she has a legal thing. We are hoping to file by this week, Matt, the end of this week, a legal, obviously, challenge to the Devash. And his one is to the airport area. Yeah, it's a judicial review. We are doing the same, and that's for Devash. And there are other things that are in the pipeline.
Yeah,
You know,
but
so-
it's very one thing I need to say is that the public must view these activities like the advocacy and also the legal as initiative. It should be viewed as being against the airport. All these are important to hold government accountable and to ensure that the project is done properly.
Yeah, and
And
it's done
that
the right
is
way.
how your
Yeah.
society progresses, when people challenge the government and challenge the law. If the law is there to be abused,
Yes.
and governments can abuse it, people can abuse it, but our responsibility as citizens, especially if we understand and work with these laws, we have a right to
Yes.
challenge it.
And I can tell you, Annie, and it's something at the end I will also talk about, is they were not anticipating this thing at all, because the government is accustomed of just doing things their own merry way and no pushback. Very little pushback, or pushback in the way that we have done this thing, Matt. Because as I'm saying, this is not just a vai. This is a very coordinated, organized group of many individuals who are involved in this. Yeah.
A call from David Brunner. Mr. Brunner, you've been observing what's going on.
Yeah, man, it's something I'm trying to understand. Copper is a really valuable it's a valuable item. If it is correct that there's this store of copper in this part of Dominica, surely the people need to be informed, and then the people need to make decisions about what happens to their land. There shouldn't be any kind of secrecy or whatever. It should be open. There should be open consultation in the way that oil is found in Saudi Arabia, for example. The people are aware of the resource and it is utilized for the common good of the country. It shouldn't be that foreign entities can just come in and be taking over parts of Dominica, mining, and with the people left in so much ignorance. There's a small group of people who seem to be trying to alert the people to what is happening. But it's the government's responsibility to say, well, look, there's a copper store there, and we will consult with the people, we will hold consultations with the people, and the people will be informed, and then it will be utilized. Either the place will be left natural, but if it is going to be mined, it is mined for the benefit of the masses, the people. So that, and that should be the way the government approaches this thing. It shouldn't be about foreign companies coming in, taking pockets of copper and using them to develop an airport. If it is there, the value is immense to the people. So let the people make decisions about how their land is utilized. I just find it very annoying that we have this resource, and it would appear that the government's intention is for it not to be used for the benefit of the people, because you can't be taking copper and using it to build an airport. So there needs to be an explanation as to the value of the copper, the potential for it, and its utility.
But I'm hearing, David, just to speak to your point. When the Chinese ambassador spoke on Sunday, he said they were not digging for copper. They were digging for stones.
But there's copper there, isn't there? I mean, the geologist report says there's copper there. So why would you be digging in a place for stones where there's such a valuable commodity as copper? It makes no sense. So if there is that valuable copper source, well, stop the digging, because that copper source could enhance the people of Dominica financially. We see the problems we're having. We need to know exactly what the benefits of that copper source is. And if it is there, then surely it would be ridiculous to be taking stones to build an airport from it. Do you see my point, Matt?
I got your point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, Jared, just to David's point, Mr. Bruni, a lawyer, attorney at law, he's saying that if there's copper, let the people know that's copper. No, don't be taking stones from that area.
Yeah, well, that's the point, Matt. And because, we'll again discuss that tomorrow as we go along. Yeah. because there's so much evidence. All the evidence, Matt, we've had, the geologist report, even people who are in the quarrying business, because that's again all the information we get internationally and everywhere. Send pictures of the place to ask them what's their opinion and everything. And I mean, many of them come back and say, who's looking to mine there? They're crazy or what? Because that's everything about Dewash is not conducive for mining rock. Yeah, because you go into any quarry to mine rock, man, what you really want is to see this rock face, right, watching you in your face. Okay, like in Corley Ho and along the coast, ready to just mine. Take out trees, a few trees that, like, you know, on the West Coast you have, it's very small, and very little material to have to dispose of, because that's another problem. Like, I don't want to be jumping, you know, but there's so much. One of the major problems, even the chief planner alluded to it, was Dominica has a major problem in finding suitable sites to put waste material. Do you know, Mark, that even the waste material they put onto Mr. Looms' land at Concord, which there is actually a stop order on him, and the compliance order, which hasn't been met. That's what we discussed with the planner, but we'll talk about it later. So we asked him, why hasn't this been enforced? Because, the compliance order says all the material that has been dumped there has to be removed as part of the compliance order, and that has not been complied with. And the acting chief planner told us, well, one of the main problems, Matt, is that they can't find a suitable site to put it. And now it blew my mind, because I'm saying you can't find a suitable site to put a small amount of stuff like that, but you're going to take out tons and tons of stuff at Dewash. Where are you going to put it?
Well, I'll tell you what the document says. The document says that the ESIA, that there are 2 dump sites. One in Concord, which I think is Mr. Loom's site, and the other in Londonderry. So they are going to take all that material and take it and put it on the banks of Londonderry River.
And I saw there's an issue of expense.
Well, exactly.
So
in the expense, they're saying that it's costly to transport the material
from the West Coast.
But you have to transport all this material and then transport all the rocks. So it just doesn't
nothing
make
is
sense.
that we can go for all of this. Every angle we turn on this quarry, and that's why we are saying, and I am saying clearly, it's all about the copper. It's nothing else, because nothing else makes sense. Rock, nothing else that makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, talking to some key quarry people, they said the amount of mitigation work that you would have to do because of the mud, the water, they wouldn't touch that.
The soil.
Oh, they wouldn't touch soil.
That's
Labu. Because by the time they start, we've walked up there, and whenever it rains, if we walk where the roads have been cut, right, and nothing has been put on them yet, but your foot just sinks down at least probably 8 inches into that.
Yeah.
And once water hits that,
the Northeast is very, very known for.
And they're struggling so much already to even contain the little stuff they have done, man, I can tell you. And if you see the disaster of, I mean, you don't want to be jumping, but at the same time, we're on the topic. Chinese are putting a piece of cloth in front of a drain to try to hold that silt. I'm sure if you show a young child, 8 years, 10 years, that they laugh. Because it's really.
So, what is it that they're trying to pick up from that cloth?
They're trying to prevent the
silt.
They did all the so-called mitigation works on the side, put siltation tank and all kind of works, which engineers asked them at a meeting, Tony Leblanc, how did you calculate for the size? It's like, for instance, Matt, you have a house and you build a septic tank. You don't want to build a septic tank just for the size of one person. When you have 5 people, you don't have a problem. The septic tank is going to overflow. So they built this very small siltation tank inside of there, and it's not working. So the water is still coming out with mud and everything else. And when that happened, they put now a piece of cloth with what you call scaffold material to dry.
I actually saw the Chinese, like, when you sift in sand, so something will remain at the top. I was wondering what it's about.
I don't know.
They're trying to keep something at the top. I don't know what it is.
Sifting it, you mean?
Yeah, sifting.
I don't know. And then they put in even this, what you call, Mark, this wheel wash. And again, we ask the physical planner, what purposes are going to serve? Because, Mark, again, I'm not no engineer, although that's what I try to do in different form. But if you're trying to wash a wheel of a truck, right, you don't want to be reversing into a basin of water on a concrete road, wash a wheel, and then come back out on the concrete road. You just put a whole lot of mud on. Yeah? Because you're going to put mud back on your wheel. A proper wheel wash, and just Google it up. You enter from one end and you leave the other end, but this one is a different design. I mean, everything about that project, Mark, is just back to front. You know, it really is not working well.
Somebody's asking the question there to Annie. What is it that you saw in that document that every Dominican should know about, that you find strange?
Boy, should we go into that right now?
You can go.
We are
ahead.
coming to that, but it's quite.
But you want to finish?
Yes.
Well, we'll
talk about some of the
She's
things
finishing on the structure.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so the next section I want to speak about is the issue of the stop orders. And the law says under Section 40, where the board, okay, we are not saying chief physical planner right now,
the board has
where
to
the
agree.
board considers it expedient in the interest of public health, public safety, or the integrity of the environment, that a breach of planning control should cease before the expiry period of a compliance notice, the board may at the same time serve a copy of the compliance notice or afterwards, being at any time before the expired date in the compliance notice, serve an order in this act referred to as a stop order. So what it say, okay, so normally on a day-to-day basis, when people conduct illegal activity or they bail, you know, not in compliance with their approved plan, they can be issued a compliance notice. And that compliance notice, you are given 28 days to remedy whatever breach you are doing. But what a stop order tells you that if there is a threat to public health, public safety, or the integrity of the environment, the board of the Physical Plan Division or Development and Planning Authority has to, or may issue what's called a stop order. And when that stop order is issued, it takes immediate effect. So that's why with the compliance notice, you also see the stop order attached, because they go together. And it's immediate, and the people are supposed to stop immediately.
Is it the chief planner that issues the stop order?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or she gets directly from the board?
No. So normally, maybe through public consultation or through an officer going to the site and recognizing that something is not right, like this thing is going on illegally or affecting the environment or affecting health and public safety, will write up a report and bring that report submit that report to the chief physical planner. Now, the chief physical planner has to write up, review all the information, and then submit it to the board for consideration. So the chief physical planner, sometimes they victimize a chief physical planner, but even the chief physical planner decides that this thing deserves a stop order, unless the board, or at least a quorum of the board, in this case 4 persons in addition to her, decides that this is serious, we need to put a stop order. They must all sign a document. So normally that document has 5 signatures. So don't think it's the chief physical planner alone that made that decision. And in this case, 4 members of the board agreed with the chief planner that this is a serious situation and it deserves a stop order.
Very serious matter.
Because the governing authority, Matt, is in fact the board, but the chief planner is part of the board also.
Yeah, and does the day-to-day work.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try to make it interactive and see if we can get 1 or 2 calls. The calls have been coming in. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Yes, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Matt, I want to say big up to Mr. Brisbane and the sister Annie in studio for the work that they are doing, man. Without people like them, Dominica be underwater. Because the more I listen to this, man, I think it was a joy to have them come in and clear this part of this incident that we're dealing with, that people just giving away Dominica resources, man. I heard a gentleman call a while ago, and his statement to you is one of the things that I said to you last week. My feeling, because I did send you a text Friday night to tell you to listen to the ambassador. I don't know if you got it. Speaking on Kyrie, and it was shameful that this man just talking to people like no one was there, because no one stood up and asked him any questions, anything pertinent. But anyway, let me go on. What I said to you a week or two ago, I feel that they are giving these people the right to mine Dave Branch for the copper as payment for the airport. And if it's not enough, I guess Dominica gonna lose 2-3 times. We know the cost is gonna rise. Number two, Miss Annie just read how the planning board and the chief planner is put in office. And she just told you about the qualification of the people, and we know how this government runs, crooked. But for the people listening sake, I just want to say, even if this administration put these people in office, we must make it clear that they are not obligated to that government, because that gentleman you had in there last week, well, it's the planning board is government, and government is the planning board, and Matt, that was really reckless of that brother, and he's well educated, and he said something like that. Then after that, he came back and said, well, you know, some people, just because if you're local, people don't like you, you ain't good enough because foreign, you know, muddy water. All these things are useless in an argument like that, Matt, because it's the future of the country, the ecology of the country. But this country has lost too much. The country has lost a lot of what you call wetlands in Portsmouth area. The country has lost Layu River. The country is losing all kind of areas. The river by the airport, and all these things. And these guys have ill intent towards the people, man, to just disregard natural beauty like that and just destroy it. Things that take eons. Man, the country took many years, thousands of years to evolve to where it's at. And I love what is taking place right now. Mr. Brisbane, I never knew you were such a lion, man. When they shut your store down, I think, my brother, you just took it lightly and you just fade out. And I heard you in an interview and say, well, you know, it wasn't a big deal for you and how you felt. But now I know you have a lion heart. And Miss, what her name? In studio with you, the lioness. To you people, I want to say big thanks to you all. And the people of Dominica must never forget what you all are doing. And they should be real thankful and stop complaining and crying, because Mr. Brisbane just make a statement. Matt, building new structures and concrete and shiny buildings, that is not progress. That is not development. We must understand that, Matt. What Dominica has, many countries in the world wish they had it. And somebody trying to tell me, even I heard the Chinese ambassador made a reckless statement, but China is very responsibly environmentally, Matt. The Three Gorges Dam. The Three Gorges Dam they built in China, Matt, can be seen from outer space. And I will tell you what scientists have found, the recklessness of that Three Gorges Dam. It filled the world, the global sphere, Earth sphere, that it threw the time off some degrees of a second, Matt. And these are the reckless things they do. They just build a dam and they flush out the place and bury their own people, structures, farm, building, everything, part of their history, man. And if these people do that to their people, imagine what they do to people who look like me. You know, I just want to leave that with our people, man, because sometimes we take things lightly and we don't participate. Mr. Brisbane and Miss Annie, I put my 50 cents on the line last week to support what y'all are doing. And if there is more, In the future, I will, because I want to know that if I come to Dominica one day, I will never regret for not saying something and not putting my little 50 cents in the work that y'all are doing, because it's shameful of me to call Matt and speak like I do and not partake. I'm listening, and thank you again, Matt, and thank Mr. Brisbane and Annie and all those in support, my brethren Nasio, David, and everybody, and all those who stay in foreign and want to call and curse people up and go on Facebook. Not man enough to stand up and see what is going on and don't see nothing wrong with that. That's for them. But I'm not going to stay quiet, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you. The truth shall reveal.
So the truth will reveal you. You see their faces, but you never know their thoughts. Every day we know that dog is deep, so deep. You see their actions, but you never know their reactions.
And to Annie's point, I want to play a insert interview I did this week with social scientist Simeon Joseph, who spoke after the interview done with the head of the airport, CEO of the airport. His analysis is coming to the point of planning there. Let's play that for a minute. Yes.
Is making a statement. But Matt, we have no statement from the construction firm constructing the airport. They are the ones who are to confirm or deny whether or not works that are going on Dave Wash are copper or not, because they are the ones doing the works. And although, as I'm saying, there might be that intrinsic link between the Chinese government and any Chinese construction company, let us take it on the merit that the ambassador is presenting and say, okay, now it's not the Chinese government, but we want accountability from the Chinese private firm. We want accountability from the private firm. If you are to relate that to what the chief executive officer of the airport said last week, to you that the government and the planning department is one, and if the government is in the kitchen cooking, and they entitled to a plate of food or some kind of gibberish like that, what is at focus is oversight. The Cabinet of Dominica has no greater authority over any department of government, and the government exists so that the government functions. And if the planning department has said it cannot go ahead, the Cabinet of Dominica has no authority to override anything that department of government says to do. And so Mr. Johnson is totally wrong in his nice, nuanced, kind of failed diplomatic articulations on your program to assume that the government and planning are one. And so his statement about thing is totally undermining the need for oversight, because if the planning department says no, and even if the government applies to planning department, that doesn't necessarily mean that planning department has to say yes. There have been several projects in the past with several governments going back to Mr. Libla, Patrick John Oliver, Seraphine, Eugenia Charles, and Edison wanted to undergo, and the planning department overrided it, and the government did not go ahead with it because the planning department said no. So, I mean, he doesn't understand governance, and so therefore he is totally undermining any form of oversight that is necessary in terms of answering those questions that have to be answered. Because whether or not a cabinet made up of politicians decide to do something and the Department of Government says no, they cannot override that. It's called oversight. It's called oversight, and that's why we have those bodies in place to give oversight. Government has to do, and the government has no choice sometimes but to obey. So we have to understand that. You may seek further advice from former cabinet secretaries if they wish to speak, or people in other jurisdictions if they want to clarify. So most of what you said with Mr. Johnson interview last week is somehow very disturbing, and it leads to the fact that maybe the Chinese government is not too much involved in the project, but that Chinese firm that is constructing the airport has some kind of agreement, some kind of clandestine agreement where they can do what they want with the construction of the airport. And because we hear Chinese, we think it's the Chinese government, but the Chinese ambassador has made it very clear to us today, and by his statement, are indicating that they have nothing to do with it, and so therefore the government of Dominica must now come to us openly and transparently and tell us what is their relation with that Chinese firm that is building the airport. They have to be now transparent, and they have to tell us what agreement they have made with that Chinese company to build that airport, what other agreements they have in place with a Chinese company for the excavation of lands, and all the agreements that they have with a Chinese company, because the Chinese ambassador has said that it is a private thing with the Chinese company and the government of Dominica.
Now, Annie, I just want to speak to this comment there just made by Simeon Joseph there. Did you ever have an opportunity to, I mean, he's talking oversight, that you were put in that position when you had to override a government project some time ago, when government decided that they were doing something and then, you know, because of planning advice, they had to stop it?
That's
you can remember?
But I know what I could talk about is a similar case to what happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember people who have land, you know, at the foothills of Mount Tapito,
okay,
had started subdividing, and planning went ahead and was given permission. And it was Bernard Wiltshire with his wife, I think, who put the pressure on planning and said, no, you are destroying the watershed of Mount Tapito if this is done. And he brought down to Dominica a watershed management expert, and he had consultation with us and everything. And planning, well, it was a government project, it was private, but planning pulled back and stopped giving approval, and the government went ahead and even got, I think it's the the USAID to develop what we call a watershed management plan for Pocasset and environment. So right now, if you own land in Pocasset, you are not allowed to build above a certain size or cut down certain trees and so on.
Okay.
So it's similar in that case, but in that case, the planning department listened to the people and agreed that what people were saying was good, and the government supported them. And that was in like about 2012, 13 or somewhere, the same government. So what I don't understand is why, you know, in the face of all this information, scientific and otherwise, that the government is not yielding to the public and to the entire issue.
But okay, you're done.
Go ahead. Yes.
What Simeon is talking about is what should exist. It's not what exists now, because I mean the influence that has been had on the planning division by the government.
Powers that be.
Powers that be, because one thing I didn't mention is when we went on Monday, and he remembered to go to look at the documents again. Mr. Ely told us that when we asked again who gave the directive that we couldn't think, he said it was the PS, the permanent secretary of the, what's his name? Mr. Sever. So they are no influence in what's going on. So I mean, what Simeon is talking about, you know, so it's not an independent body. It's just so rotten. The whole system is so rotten that we really, if this country is going to have any chance of moving forward in any way, you know, that is going to be productive for the citizens, we just have to get rid of this rotten system. It has its rotten.
Do you believe the Chinese when he said that there's no copper and they're not mining the copper?
Well, we're going to that even though they want to, but we will go to it now, because again, Seaman talked about that. The ambassador said this company is private. It's not private. You see, again, that's why we like him to keep speaking, because when you try to, as I say, hide the truth, what a tangle web we weave when you try to deceive or go to deceive. CR5 is not a private. It's
subsidiary.
CR5 China Railroad Number 5 Engineering Company Limited is a subsidiary of the state-owned China Railway Group Limited, CREC. It's very clear, and then it says here, so that's the parent company. And then in 2000, CREC was placed within the oversight of the Central Large-Scale Enterprise Work Commission. These are all government things. In 2003, CREC was placed under supervision of State-Owned Assets Supervision and Administration Commission, SASAC, a commission of the State Council. I mean, so when the ambassador is coming to say that, I mean, Matt, it's obviously it's unfortunate. So there's also something else we found. You see, so we went searching, and in searching you find all this. So here this key aspect of CREC mining deals. So we get into the mining part, and Resource for Infrastructure RFI. Many projects involve providing mining development in exchange for construction infrastructure like roads and hospitals, a model that has faced scrutiny for its impact on local economies and environment. Look at the evidence, what is there. So we're not making this up. So, I mean, trying to now do as if the Chinese government is not involved or is separate is totally untrue. It's false. But man, I will also tell you, and at the end, towards the end, I will read. Today, I had the opportunity, and I'm thankful for the ambassador to give us that opportunity to have dropped off at the Chinese embassy this morning, just before I came, about an hour before, a letter which we had written to him. We have written to him an open letter, and also to we included in that package, Matt, a copy of the stop order and the compliance order for CR5, also one for MMC, and we also included in the package the geologist report. So we have provided them with all of that information.
The Chinese ambassador.
Well, I brought it to the security.
Right.
That's what you do. Left it. He signed my copy. I have it right here of the letter that I delivered. And so, we are giving the Chinese ambassador all the doubt in the world. We want to be fair to everybody. Some people say, oh, well, yes, we know these people are lying, but we still want to go through the process, man, to give them the opportunity to have all the information. So now they cannot obviously come back and say, well, they didn't have the information or whatever it is. So we're giving them that opportunity. We have demanded in our letter, which I will read, obviously certain things, and then we'll see what their response is. If they do respond, and we take it from there.
Another phone call. Hello, talk to me.
Yes, good afternoon, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm here.
Good. This is Alvin here calling, and I just want to say good afternoon to Annie and Jerry, and just to thank them for the work that they're doing on behalf of Dominica. I'm listening to the conversation this afternoon, and it's really disturbing, to say the least. As a Dominican, in the diaspora and hearing what's going on, it's quite frightening. And myself, having been a senior public officer for many years in the public service, it's really discouraging. Let me just quickly say, Matt, for the benefit of our listeners, and I too heard the statement made by the Chinese ambassador to Dominica. And he referenced the fact that no laws have been broken and that it's CR5 and all of that good stuff. But I think Annie has adequately dealt with most of that, as well as Jerry. But currently, Matt, as we speak, there is what is called a Mines and Mineral Act number 5 of 1996. That's a current law. It's on our books. It's Act number 5 of 1996, and it's called the Mines and Mineral Act. And the Act defines clearly in the section dealing with interpretation, it clearly defines what is considered construction materials. And that includes stones, gravels, among other stuff. I will not go into that. Also, it defines what is considered industrial material. All of that is in the Act. And it also defines what is considered a quarry. A quarry means a place, not being a mine, where quarry material has been removed or is being removed, being by excavation or otherwise, to supply material for construction, commercial, industrial, or manufacturing purposes. Now, I think Jerry adequately described if this was supposed to be a quarry, what would happen. And we all know what the various 8 or 9 quarries we have operating across the country, how material is excavated or removed. Clearly, if you're going 1,000 feet down, subject to correction, which I heard, then that doesn't appear to be a quarry. But be that as it may, let's suppose give them the benefit that they're saying it's a quarry operation. That same Act 5 of 1996, Mines and Minerals, define what quarry material is. Also, what quarry minerals are. That same act again, I'm referring to the law because according to the ambassador, no laws were broken. That same act again at section Part 5, section 78 talks about quarry permit and how one should go about obtaining a permit for a quarry. And by the way, let me also state too, in that very same act, at section 79.3, it says that a quarry permit shall expire annually on the 31st day of December, but may be renewed during the month of December if submitted with the prescribed fees to the inspector. So again, let's suppose it was a quarry operation they had here. It's supposed to come to an end at the 31st of December and possibly a renewal if need be. Let me also say, though, that as we speak now, we do not have a separate legislation to deal specifically with quarry on its own, notwithstanding the fact that reference is made in the act that I just referred to, Act number 5 of 1996. But the Physical Planning Division does have the authority and the permission to regulate quarries in Dominica.
I'll tell you what, we have a lot to explore, so I'm going to cut you short there. We'll call you a little later and, of course, speak to the very acts that you're talking about. But let's continue the conversation. Yeah, I just got a text message I want to read to you, Mr. Brisbane. Somebody's asking their source close to the government of Dominica, who was the physical planner that approved Brizimat to install a children's playground between 2 bulk fuel storage facilities separated by chain link fencing. How was it approved, Jerry? A question to you. As I said, from a source.
Well, from what source is that, man?
A government, so the government source.
Government source, okay. Well, I guess the government source has the ability to go to the planning division and find out who is the chief planner at the time.
I hope they can they'll give him that document.
Well, I hope. But man, I mean, I'm not going to waste my time. I mean, we had permission to they can go and find it. I can't tell you who the planner was at the time. I mean, that's what, 30 years ago or more, 40 years. I don't remember, 1994 or before that. 92,
well, I'm hoping that it can be made available to
But I will welcome them making it public. Okay. Yes, absolutely, because just like we're doing, we make everything public. But coming back to the last caller, man, that you threw off my train of thought. But okay. I just want to say, let me just make this other point
that one made you laugh.
I mean, that's whichever government source that's trivializing the situation we have right now with Daybash and really what's going to the thousands of people, well, probably hundreds directly affected, but thousands of Dominicans who, and not only that, Matt, to take how many years to well, it will never be the same, number one, but maybe the river might over 100 years come back to its, a similar state. Who knows? I don't know. So that's just, I mean, really, it's unfair. But that's again how these people operate. Let me just say this to you. Coming back to CREC, which was the parent company of CR5. Here's what it says: operational scope. CREC resources focusing on exploration, mining, smelting, and technical services for non-ferrous and precious metals. Well, copper is a precious metal. Okay. So clearly, and we'll play a clip in a little later on, Matt, where General in the last program they did with you. So it was deja vu all over again. So here's it. I think you had a Canadian company that came and did some rock quarrying there. And then right after they were done, another Canadian company was again ready to come into mine. So, and now we deal Chinese, and we do know the Chinese and how they operate, not in Africa and everything else. There are a couple of clippings we'll play if we have time. But let me deal with it just quickly too about this thing about quarrying and mining and so on. Because even in the ASIAs that they think, they also there's a area where they talk about quarrying and mining and being interchangeable and everything, which is what the geologists also said. But just all I want to tell people is go on Google, look up is quarrying a mine, and they will see that it says clearly that quarrying is a type of surface mining. Now, surface, that's the word. Where's the key? Planted to a dewash. It's not surface. In certain areas of dewash, they're probably going to have to go along to 1,500, geologists said that, to then get to the rock that they're trying to find. Because the rock really, they're trying to deal with at dewash is right in your face, when I say in a sense. Right after the bridge, on the left-hand side, you see what they call this outflow of rock, right? Basalt rock and stuff. Washfair. And actually, that's what the Chinese did, CR5 did. Okay. They came and they broke. You can go, it's the broken pieces are still there. They use whatever equipment they broke, and they use that probably for testing. So that's the rock they're after. But it's coming out right there, surface, because of the level of the land. But as you leave there and you go up now, and you go up what you call this mountain, that's it. A mountain doesn't go straight, it goes up. So now you got to remove all of that dirt that's on top of that outcrop of rock there to get to the outcrop as you're going to the back. So that's why, as the geologist said, who is a master? Basically, who is insane enough to go to use it as a quarry? And then where are they going to put all of this material? And Matt, no one
taking it to Wesley. They cannot even accommodate what's in Wesley,
But they can't even accommodate what's on Mr. Lom's place on Concord Road, which is a minimal thing, And so, it's just ridiculous that they're looking at this for rock. And we get to that also to Collioure, the rock at Collioure is right there. Not only that, but we have confirmation that Antigua, in the last time it resurfaces runway, all the rock came from Collioure, all of it.
But they're worried about the expense to transport the rocks from Collioure.
We don't even know the expense. Nobody says what the expense is, but listen to me. So what was the expense of taking the cement that they needed right from China to bring to Dominica?
And then from Rosa all the way.
Do you know that each shipment of that cement was $1.2 million, Matt? $1.2 million. Go check how many of the shipments came into Dominica.
Very interesting. Okay? Let's take a voice, then we'll come back. Yes. Yes.
Matthew Fontaine and the rest of the patriotic Dominicans who are standing to protect the foundation of this blessed land. While many are sleeping, nonetheless, we understand nationalism and what it means to hold our leaders and various institutions accountable. So my hearts go off to those who really understand the task ahead and who are standing for country's time.
What's going on there? I don't know. I think the battery is dying off.
But to come back to that point, man, because it's so important, is that the Collioure quarries, and Annie will speak to that later, the material there is suitable for the airport. Okay? There's no doubt about that. And I think we want to make that clear.
I've heard
now the narrative is that not just the cost I heard, I think it was Mr. Johnson also talking about the inconvenience of the trucks and the dust and everything else, because people are complained before about the cement going up and how many communities would be affected. And so that's why I'm happy when they speak, because it's 8 communities. And so I said, okay, call you. Then you have all these other communities along the thing, whatever it is, and you go to Portsmouth, you go to Dubai, you go to wherever, then you go on the northeast coast and whatever. And I checked it, and it's about the same, right? He said 8 communities that they would now affect to go from Collio. But then I then took the cement leaving from Roseau. And from the time you start, you have Foncolé, you have Canefield, you have Roger, you have Sylvania, and I kept going and I got the same. So I'm saying, but what's the problem here? Okay?
Yeah.
Now, the cement, they were transporting it in these bags. There's all dust and so on. Cement. With the stone material, you could simply cover the trucks. That's a simple solution. Just get truck coverings, which in fact is a law. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, it's true.
There's a law that anytime you're transporting gravel sand, you should have it covered. Okay? So there's no problem with that. Cover it. Now, you talk about the cost. Well, at that time, too, Matt, when they were redoing, do you know when they were redoing the Melvin Hall Airport, the last thing, the Bayesian company? Do you know where they got the rock from? Collio. Right from Collio. And they transported it to Melvin Hall to do the last extension of the Melvin Hall Airport. So
something is wrong there.
But something is just totally wrong. Any way and angle they go with this, it just, as you say, the maths is not math. It just doesn't add up. So really, there's something at Daybash that's special. And what's that? The only thing that we know that's special is copper, right? It's copper. And we know that the demand for copper, there's a clipping that if you want to play it now, Matt, you could do that, but maybe later on, later down. Then we will play that. So you'll see that the demand for copper is on the rise. The price for copper is on the rise. And that American China are on the racing.
But I didn't hear the Chinese say that if they have to take copper from Dominica, the profit margin will not be.
Well, man, they could say anything they want. You know? I mean, listen. Okay, we're on it now in a sense.
Right.
And you have a clip if you would like to play it.
You mean the Chinese?
No, that's the clip with.
Okay, I know.
Let me see. I can tell you.
All right, give me a second. We'll come right back.
Play some music.
You see their faces, but you never know their thoughts. Every day we know that dog is deep, so deep. You see their actions, but you never know their reactions. Time and time alone, you prove the story, and every eye will see. Truth will reveal. The truth will reveal. Things that are hidden, until the things that them I keep down inside. Truth will reveal. The truth will reveal. What's in their heart? What is in their heart? Oh yeah. Say the truth. I said the truth will reveal, yeah. I said the truth will reveal. Let the truth them try to hide from long time gone. But you and I know that looks at this say here you stand. Still waters run deep, so watch it out, you're running steep. And one time alone will prove the story. and every eye will see. Truth will reveal. The truth will reveal the things that are hidden. Of everything that I'm high, I keep down in battle. Truth will reveal. The truth will reveal. And what is in your heart? Oh. I know the truth will reveal you. Oh, expose them. Expose them. Let the truth be revealed, yeah. I said the truth be revealed, yeah.
Need one trusted place to stock up for your home, shop, or business? Fine Foods Inc. Distribution has got you covered. From dry goods and frozen foods to your favorite drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, plus all the household must-have. We've got it all under one roof. We're right here in Jimmy Dominica, and yet we deliver. Whether you're running a supermarket, a corner shop, a bar, or just like your pantry full and happy, Fine Foods Inc. brings you the best brands you know and love. Great prices, top tier service, trusted products. 255-6810 or 316-0164, or drop by our Jimmy location to check out what's in store. Fine Foods Inc.
Fine Foods Inc. The biggest distributor for the biggest brand.
Cricket Association, in collaboration with the Elias Dupuy Foundation, proudly presents the Elias Dupuy Tip Ball Cricket Festival, all in honor of the late Elias Dupuy. Join us Easter Sunday and Easter Monday at the Ansdume Playing Field in the northeast of the island for 2 days of softball cricket action. Games begin 11 a.m. on Easter Sunday and 9 a.m. on Easter Monday, featuring top teams from the north and northeast of Dominica, including Benz, Peebush, Penville, Calabishi, Marigot, Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Portsmouth, all competing for over $3,000 in prizes. Make this Easter one to remember with thrilling cricket, community spirit, and great entertainment. April 5th and 6th at the Ansdale Field. Catch the action live on radio, Facebook, YouTube, and the television. Come out and support the Elias Dupuy Table Cricket Festival, where the Northeast will come alive with cricket. Lovely cricket.
When the money don't count and your pocket doesn't touch you. A fresh market, a fine day. We are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well stocked supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meats prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and desserts at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh your one stop. That you fresh market, never did a fine day. Fresh market.
KFC. KFC. Looking for some place to go. Meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC. KFC. It's finger licking good.
KFC. Ooh, wow. KFC. Looking for some place to go. Meals for soul. KFC. Grab your family and your friends. Join in the experience. KFC. It's the place to be. Made for you and me. KFC.
All right, Dominica, we're back here. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to present to you, of course, an interview done with the Chinese ambassador about, of course, some mining taking place there in some African country. Let's see if we can get that together there and, of course, play that for you in a minute. So let's stick around and, of course, press.
Clamor for copper from the world's developed economies,
on mining,
as well as some more developing economies, and a growing realization that the world is going to need to secure much more copper for things like building AI data centers, which are extremely heavy on electricity use. And anywhere you find growing use of electricity, you're going to find growing use of copper. And in a world that's using much more copper, we need to find where that copper is. And in Central Africa, you've got Zambia and Congo, which sit in a pretty unique position of being one part of the world where copper production has been increasing rapidly and will continue to do so in the coming years. The problem with that is the Central African copper belt is literally in the middle of Africa, a continent which has some of the world's most poorly developed logistics.
Which is where infrastructure has made its way quite extensively, I think, throughout these discussions with mining executives and even government.
This is where geopolitics have really come to the fore. We've seen the US and the EU backing a railway project coming out of the Central African copper belt from southern Congo to an Angolan port and an Atlantic port on the western side of the African continent called Lobito. They've pledged hundreds of millions of dollars to refurbish an existing railway there and then connect it to the south, into Zambia, where there is also a growing demand for logistics into and out of the Zambian copper belt. On the other hand, we've got China, a consortium of Chinese investors led by a state-owned company that is now spending nearly $1.4 billion on refurbishing an existing railway line that was built in the 1970s during the Mao era that connects the Zambian copper belt to the Dar es Salaam port in Tanzania to the east of Zambia, which has actually emerged as now the most used port for the Congolese and Zambian copper mines. So you essentially see this race from the West, the EU and the US, to develop the Western rail corridor, the Lobito corridor, and now China to refurbish the Eastern Tazara railway corridor. And at the end of the day, it is a power play between the West and China in accessing these critical minerals. That's the core of it.
I just want to bring up this point, Matt, that, one of the arguments on the other side is that Dave Wash was previously used for quarry material for Melbourne Hall back in 1970. But what a lot of people don't realize, so where you see the exposed rock by the Dave Wash Bridge is where they utilize. And what a lot of Dominicans probably were not privy to or do not know about is that the airport, Dave Wash was used for the airport material in 1970. The airport was finished in 1970, resurfacing by a Canadian company. In 1970, a Canadian company also then tried to come to Dominica to mine Dave Wash. So right when they were using the Dave Wash material to resurface the Melbourne Hall, a Canadian company tried to come to Dominica to mine that same area in 1970. So this is almost like deja vu. This is happening all over again. So yes, they're saying, okay, they used the basalt from the area. First of all, Melbourne Hall was a lot smaller back then. It required a lot less material. And you still see that exposed rock area that they used. But yeah, in 1970, it happened. And then in the 1990s, it happened. And now we're in the 2020s and it's happening all over again.
My country, China, my homeland, is not mining in Dominica, in any place in Dominica. Second, the Chinese government consistently requires its overseas enterprises to strictly abide by the laws of the host country and to operate in compliance with regulations. As the official representative of the Chinese government in Dominica, my embassy neither supports nor condones any violation.
All right. Interesting, huh? So you just heard there from the Chinese ambassador who says no Chinese company is looking for copper. Somebody's asking, as a diplomat, is being economical with the truth, huh? Or is he? They say pressure does burst pipe, right?
Well, I don't know. Thank God my pipes are made of very strong material. Maybe it's copper too. I don't know. Copper is good for piping.
What is your take on just the approach by the Chinese ambassador? Are you surprised?
No, Matt, I mean, I don't know. I give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I know how China operates, but our group wants to give him the benefit of the doubt. So as I said, we dropped off a package for him today, okay? Which included the compliance notice and stop order for CR5 and MMC.
I heard the chief executive officer of the airport, Mr. Johnson, saying that you guys have never approached the secretariat there of the airport to speak to your concerns. So how can you answer this?
Well, Mark, I'm not sure where he wants to approach that then, because when he was on a program with you, he said he wanted to have a private meeting with me or to come to meet him in his office. That's not how it works, as I told him. I told him I would be very happy to meet with him or discuss with him, but that would need to be in public. And that needs to be a public discussion, which is how it should work, with the community, not just me, the communities who are affected and the entire public of Dominica.
So you want it to be a public meeting?
But it's not, I want it, man. It's how it should be done. Anyhow, you're going to do a project of the size that they're doing, there are procedures to be followed, and he knows those procedures, everything else. And so the developers are supposed to have public consultations in the communities that are going to be affected. In fact, Mark, I have also something, from Jamaica, a copy, where what's the name of the hotel? Is it Sandals? Sandals are looking to go into some community to do a development. And in the newspaper and everywhere, they post all these signs telling people where they can read the documents in the communities. They can read them in the communities. And the time and so on that they will be having the consultation and everything else and whatever it is, So, and that's the proper procedure. That has never been followed in this thing with DAVASH. And in fact, man, I can go further to say it probably has never been followed with this government for inception or maybe for a very long time, So it is not for me and Mr. Johnson to discuss this, or Mr. Johnson and somebody else. It's for the developers, Mr. Johnson and his team, to come to a public forum, to have this discussion. And not only that, but they want to come to a public forum to have a discussion, and they are not willing to have the documents available, right, in the right way for the people to then scrutinize and have information to be able to come to that public forum with knowledge and information that they can ask the appropriate questions. How can you go, Matt, to a public forum to have a sensible discussion on a document that's 200-something pages, and that's just one? There's several of them. I mean, come on, and try to get through that in a couple of hours. It just doesn't make sense. But Matt, before Annie comes in on that, let me just finish with the thing with the copper and the Chinese ambassador, because he's saying that CR5 always, or Chinese companies always follow the rules and regulations.
He also said that for the environment, so they encourage stuff for the environment.
Oh, Jesus, man. I mean, but not only a site, but DAVASH. I mean, you want to go into an environment like DAVASH to try to dig that place up and take out all of that material to put where God knows where, which everybody knows, just as a chief planner, that they're very, very, it's very difficult to get suitable sites. Because everywhere in Dominica is in some valley, something, the water goes into the, whatever it is, man. But in the case of that, I just want to come back to the stop order compliance order CR5, because again, that's what we dropped off to him. And it says what the offense is. You have deposited, the authority notes that on lands situated at Stonefield, Concord, you have deposited refuse on waste or waste material. You have caused environmental damage and affected the integrity of the environment. And you have threatened and or affected the health and safety of the public. So does that fit what the ambassador is saying about? It's totally opposite to what he's trying to indicate. And then he talked about, right, and then he talks about how that was done, which he says they follow the laws. He says by dumping soil material in close proximity to the Pegua River and commencing excavation works without first obtaining permission from the planning authority, contrary to section 17 of the Physical Planning Act. So, I mean, that's why I really believe, man, he did not have information, because I can't see a person of that stature and that position blatantly lying to the public, unless they feel the Dominicans are so, daft, or like in China where they keep people, ignorant. That's the word, Mark. So ignorant to the information and the truth. And that's why we decided to bring the documents.
Somebody's asking the question, then maybe Annie or someone answer. If they are mining for copper, are they doing it in conjunction with building the airport, or is it an airport just a fast, or is the airport just a fast?
Well, we cannot answer that question.
You might not be able,
no.
Because there are people out there, and I'm actually reading some of the Facebook messages that say, "Oh, Jerry and maybe Annie against an international airport."
That's what they always
development.
Say. Have we mentioned the international airport in everything we are saying? Yeah?
No. But now let me ask another question, if you don't mind. If they stop the stone quarry at Debash, is the airport going to stop? No. They can get loads of stones from Corleo. So the only thing they're trying to say is the cost. Now they're saying it's about this one. So the narrative just keeps changing. So this airport is not going to stop because of Debash. It can continue very easily. Take all your rock from Corleo, leave Debash alone. It's a simple thing. And in fact, Crap Hall is right there. They're still crushing from 6 to 6, 12 hours every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And at one time they said it's because of the production which was cut because of this injunction, yes, which is true. Limited time. But we again gave them options where what this crushing machine you have at Debash, which wasn't mounted at the time, could have been transported very easily to Crap Hall and mounted there and double your production there, mm-hmm, and triple it because it's a bigger crusher from what I have noticed than the one that's at Crap Hall. So, let's take a voice study, yes.
Madam, I also forgot to ask Dominicans to please show up for that court case tomorrow. Show up in support, because this court case tomorrow is for every Dominican, even the laborites who keep talking about we don't want the airport, always trying to stop development. Today, one of them called me an enemy of progress, a traitor, an enemy of Dominica who resides in St. Thomas called me an enemy of progress. Well, if progress means drying up all our rivers in Dominica, I will stand against that progress. Thank you.
All right, Dominica, 449-309596. And you're making a point, Annie. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so just to support what Marceline said, yeah, this case is not about me. It's about the people of Wesley in particular. These people have suffered tremendous injustice, and also they right now are going through a lot of environmental problems caused by the environment, and they have never really been put together in a room and guided about this airport project and how it will benefit them. So it's not about me. It's not about me being against the airport. It's all about the people and the fact that under the planning law, people are supposed to be treated justly, whether it's for environmental, social, or economic reasons.
Roland? Matt, the worrying thing about this ambassador, Chinese ambassador, he said they don't condemn or support. I don't understand him on that one, because you either condone or you don't condone. He said they don't condone or support. That's troubling for me, because you cannot say you don't condone things when they do it wrong.
A lot of text messages coming there. And time is of the essence. Annie, you wanted to make a few extra points there.
Okay, so what I want to give right now is a few points, a few observations I made from the ESIA. And, it's just a few. There are many others, but I'll just present a few of them. One thing I notice about that ESIA is that it seems like a done deal. And, a lot of people who prepare ESIA think, just because I prepare ESIA, the project should go on. And that's not it. An ESIA is a document that's supposed to inform the decision makers, in this case at the planning department. So if they review the document and they see that, there isn't enough information for them to make a decision, they can disapprove it, It's not, but in this document, this guy feel, okay, I made an ESIA and it should be approved. The other issue with that approach that they have used is that he's just one person, and ESIA has to be done by a team. So in this case, there should have been a geologist, a hydrologist, a forester, and also a sociologist to deal with all those different aspects. So, that is something that's very glaring. It's like I do my ESIA and it's supposed to be approved. Also, the issue of alternatives. They presented the alternatives in a way. Okay, they spoke about the Crapper Hole Quarry. It's not sufficient. It will expire in a short while. But they mentioned briefly other quarries on the West Coast, but they never went any serious discussion about that. One of the major points, aspects of ESIA is that it has to look critically at all possible options. And the fact that they just glossed over the West Coast quarries is very unsettling, because that means they don't even want to give it a serious. Yeah. And we are seeing from the document I read, as I said earlier, they plan to remove all this, the transport all the dirt you see on the mountains and underground to Wesley. That is transportation cost, and then crush the material and take it across. Whereas with the West Coast quarries, they just have to go pick up the information. They pick up the rocks. So if you do a proper cost-benefit analysis, maybe the cost would just, cancel out itself.
But then what about the cost of the impact on the communities and so on? And that's to
the
me
people
the most
they are
important.
suffering quite a lot.
And not only that, Matt, quickly, I always say, tell people, put themselves in the opposite. Change shoes if you want to see, put yourself in people's shoes. Would you like for that to be done to you, or I'm saying, where whatever it might be, you've been living in a place for how long, and then all of a sudden this comes and your entire life is disrupted. None of them would be, Mr. Johnson, none of them would be willing
happy for that.
and very happy for it.
Yes. Yeah. So another issue that is very glaring is that they don't mention copper at all. It's like they divorced it. Okay, we are not interested in copper. We're only interested in quarrying. But when you study quarrying if there's copper in the area, you're going to encounter copper.
You think that's deliberate?
I think it's deliberate. But just we have been told by the scientists that when you unearth these minerals, they create acidic environment. And heavy metals will then get into the waterways. Places like Guyana, people suffer a lot from these metals that are in the water because of all the mining that's there. And the people downstream.
Yeah, and also, people think that for you to be able to or feel that this is happening to the river, it must be seen. But the brown water is more than just the dirt and the silt. But even if you prevent that silt, Matt, the water can be clear and still be filled with all these
I understand that people who are suffering from itchy skin and so on up there. Yeah. Then there's the issue of the Pegua River and the fact that this area is a heavy rainfall area. They have not really done any serious investigation into how this mining is going to affect the Pegua River, and the mitigation measures they recommend is like sandbags, the basket, the silk and ponds. But do these have the capacity to control and manage the amount of runoff from that mountain? That is just.
But Manny, they're already struggling with the little part that they have dug. They're struggling to even contain that.
And they haven't even touched the area.
And they put in a cloth to try to hold it back, and now they're trying something with some kind of stone effect. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Another issue they just gloss over is the fact that river is a very important and very useful tourism product, in the sense that people from all over Dominica and even from abroad use there for bathing. You have there's
even hikes and trails there. They call it forest walks and all kind of things.
The river tubing that is so common. There are a number of hotels along there. They haven't done any analysis of this economic impact when this river is destroyed.
Yeah,
that's a big.
But you have other people with other products, Mr.
And then we come to the issue of climate change and the fact that area in general, because it receives a lot of rainfall, is very susceptible to landslides. Growing up in Marigot, that area, anytime it rains, you'd always have landslides in this area. This is just glossed over in the.
Especially when you remove the forest and everything else. I mean,
that is a serious thing. It's like that is not a problem for them. And the last one I'll talk about is the fact that they talk about consultation, but they haven't done any consultation. There are more, but I'll stop here because.
Annie has to leave, and then I will. Okay, Annie. You go ahead. You have to leave. Yeah. Thanks a lot for.
Annie, thank you. Very much. I hope to see you around the court area. What time is the court tomorrow? 9:00. Wish you the best going forward. We have just about 10 more minutes, Jerry.
Yeah.
As we wrap up. I'm stopping right here, Lord. Finally letting go. I've been trying to solve every puzzle in my mind, searching for the answers that I just cannot find. Let's take a phone call. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
No, I was sleeping, but I just get up, I know about crapple hole. But all I saying, my father have a big estate up there. When his second wife died, it's for us. So I don't know all the business all is saying. But you see that Dominica country there, somebody look like they want somebody to take somebody neck and put it under the bridge and kill them, because people in Dominica cannot be suffering cause only like that. I only listening because the personal life still, and it's not mine yet. But my father, I have my will, when people die, it's mine. And my family, so I only watching everybody who is couple alone, who is under the table alone, and who is this, who is that. That country is a sick country. And it's scary. If it's this carry to change his ways, what will you living? Because people can't be so malicious and wicked. Don't let me to talk because I'm a Dominican. Mary God is my father own. And I have plenty things in my work. And I was watching people that believe I notice. Bye bye, Matt. And Matthew, forget to come and pick up the thing.
I'll check you out this afternoon.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Yes, Jerry, you have to wrap it up here. Of course, emotions there.
Well, man, that's what it is, and hopefully that people channel their energy in a very positive way. And you know, like anything else, choose to be on the right side of history. But before we finish, Matt, let me just go through a few things. Well, you know, we are going to publish the application forms, which we had also obtained. That tells a really serious story also, Matt, of the deceit and everything else. There were 3 actually application forms. That the first one was in July, and that was for crusher and a quarry. Interesting enough, Matt, that and that's in the Dave area.
Okay.
Interesting enough, when that application form was sent in, it's interesting when you were supposed to put the size of land that you're going to, total size site area, it just says acres.
Acres?
Acres. But there, I want to show you for yourself. Read it right there. Somewhere here. Where is it? Acres. Look at it.
Nothing specific there.
Nothing specific. It doesn't even give you a size of land. So it looked like you were just going to keep going and going and going. And so, you know, there's so many things in these application forms of their own. That was the first thing. So it was for crusher the quarry in July. That's MMC put in this application form in. And it says acres. The second application now was on 12th of December, and that application was only for a crusher, But I will come to why maybe that's the case too much. And then on the 29th of January, there is now, and for the crusher, the land size was 7 point something acres, I think it was. Okay, so yeah, 7.56 acres. So that's just for crusher. And then now the last application is recent. It was in January 29th. And then this application form now is for, again, a quarry and a crusher. But the land size now is 19.1 acres, 18 acres. Now that land mass is pretty much what General and them calculated what they have already destroyed. So it seems like now they're trying to get this done.
Just a question, Jerry, and I think you spoke about it earlier. Did you ever see the letter or document that provided permission for these people to go back to Dewash? Because there was a stop order.
No, that's what we were saying earlier on, Matt. The thing is, that's what we asked for, and that's what the chief planner came to tell us. No more documents would be given to us. That Mr. Johnson said that they had it in writing, some permission to mount the crusher, not to operate it, to mount. So we tried to get that, and we have not even.
So what's the intention after you mount?
Well, of course, Matt. That's the whole point. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out what's going to be done here, because if you're giving these people further room to mount the crusher, you're not intending to tell them afterwards to take it down. I mean, obviously, the plan clearly appears that the planning, or whichever authority that's controlling the planning now, because it doesn't seem like the planning is able to control itself, is going to give permission for at least the people to run the crushing machine, which again, and so we try to get information on that. But Matt, again, in the interest of time, I still want to bring one or 2 points together. This matter here with the application, you could see the pattern. They first applied for a crusher and a quarry, acres. When the pressure got built, and then the former chief planner, Ms. Dorival, put the stop order in, where the authorities, the leadership wasn't happy with that, I can tell you that. That's why she's probably not coming back. And if she's coming back, they got rid of her for a 3-month period to allow all this stuff taking place now to be able to give permission to mount up, do whatever it is, and try to maybe approve some sort of a planned situation. So she left she put the stop order on the 1st of December, was when the stop order went into place. It's interesting that on the 8th of December, MMC now applied only for a crushing plant. So they changed because maybe they felt that they could get the crushing plant only, right? And then Miss Dorival goes on leave in January, and then you have a situation where now all of a sudden the MMC is reapplying once again for a crushing plant and a quarry this time again, right? But with a smaller size. So they're obviously trying to definitely get in there in some way or the other. But we know how the Chinese operate, man. And once they get in there, they are going to always just keep going. So, you know, the applications in themselves tell a story. The other thing, Matt, is the letter to the Chinese ambassador. Obviously, not enough time to read it, so I won't do that right now.
Well, in a synopsis, what is this letter saying to the Chinese?
It's saying basically that obviously he's made a very negative characterization of our campaign, saying there are people out there that are trying to bring forth and all kind of different things about China, whatever it is. So we were actually asking him to apologize for this, because in the face of the evidence that we provided to him, CR5, the stop order, everything else, not following the laws, it's there, it's documented, and it's evidence. So yeah, in that sort of a sense, Matt. But we'll publish it, so it'll go out shortly, just as the application forms will also do that. But I want to take also two other things, Matt, the opportunity to really call out some of what I think are the key political influencers in this country. And these are the people who are also going to be affected, maybe not as directly, but they are going to be affected, and I'm sure they realize that. And so I just want to call them out, and like Mr. Gregor Nassif and Mr. Sam Raphael, yeah? To say to them that they are, I'm sure, very aware of the disaster, just like Mr. Lennox Honeychurch said, oh, it's going to be a mess in his interview with Mr. Blackmore. It's going to be a mess, but let's just forget that. The airport has to be built. Well, that's obviously not a good way of looking at it, Matt. So I want to definitely call out these political influencers to use their influence in whatever way to really try to, influence the authorities to change their approach to this matter with, Dewash, man, because Dewash is going to be such a disaster for this country and the people, a disaster of a magnitude, Matt, that I think, would really be detrimental for the future of the country. But let me also say this to Matt in coming to an end. Mr. Sam Raphael, in an interview on DBS, I think it was, he called the situation in Dewash a mistake. That's what he said. The government went about it in the wrong way. It's a mistake. Well, I just want to let him know this, Matt. It is a miss for sure, but it is not a mistake. It is a miscalculation. Okay, Matt? And it's all by design, because that's how the leadership works. They go ahead and they flagrantly disregard the law. And if by chance they get caught, then they use the narrative that it is too far gone and it does not make sense to stop it. And anybody who obviously comes against it is like us. We're trying to stop the airport, and that's not the case. And obviously, Matt, in the case of Dewash, the leadership then turns wrong when things don't go right and throws everybody under the bus and becomes like the Lord and Savior, because you remember the Prime Minister went to Dewash, and that was shortly after he had some discussions with the Kalinago Council thing. And then he said how he didn't like what was going on there. And so he's going to put a temporary whatever halt. Well, again, Matt, that is totally a lie, because was already in place. The slaughter was already in place. So he knew that. So he came and said he was going to stop it and he was going to be the savior. Right, Matt? So, and that's how they operate. Well, in this case, though, Matt, I will tell you that in this one, they got caught with their pants down because they never thought that two young ecologists would have challenged and exposed their devious and destructive plan. They missed for sure. They miscalculated, and it was not a mistake, as Mr. Raphael said. And you know what they miscalculated, Matt? Was that two young patriotic sons and daughters of Kalinago descent would rise from the ashes of the ancestors and in turn awaken the spirits and consciousness of many others to challenge a devious and destructive plan to rape and destroy the heart and soul of our motherland, Waitukubuli, because of the insatiable appetite for power and control through their greed and selfishness. And for that, they will pay a significant price. Long live Waitukubuli.
That's a good way to wrap it up, Joshua. Mr. Bribrin, thank you again for sharing and, of course, educating the public. A lot of food for thought. Something to chew on. Tomorrow, the Prime Minister is having a news conference. So let's see what happens then.
And I know that you are mine.
The struggle continues. The Patriots will keep standing. For now, Dominica, this is it for us. We have gone past time. It's now 3:33. Mr. Brisbane, again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
To everybody.
Bye-bye.
For the opportunity.
Maybe sometime in the future we'll do a repeat of this one.
I'm holding on to you until the breaking of the day. Lord, we lift up the listener who feels like they are walking through the valley of the shadow of death today. The one who is facing a terrifying diagnosis, a massive financial loss, or a grief so deep they can barely breathe. Remind them of the unshakable promise of Psalm 23. They are not walking through this dark valley alone. You are right there beside them, protecting them with your rod and comforting them with your staff. Chase away the shadows of fear and wrap them in your profound supernatural peace tonight. Lead them safely through. The good shepherd through the darkest valley, sweet, sweet safety. I'm holding your hand.